Next video. How this guy makes the world's smallest handmade sculptures.
Imagine making a sculpture so tiny your eyelash is the paintbrush. Creating pieces in the eyes of needles. A canvas 1/3 the size of a fruit fly's wing. That's...
Ooh, how do you draw that? How do you like do that out though? Bro's holding it up. You need a microscope to see it. He wrote out KJT on it too.
My name is Willard Wigan. I'm the creator of the smallest handmade sculptures in history.
Dude, they're in a needle point. Little sunglasses, a rat on the top of a nail.
This is more complicated than any microsurgery. I don't care what anybody says. You have to have a more stable hand than any surgeon to do this work. This one took me a long time. 4 months. Because each camel had to individually put in.
Why? Like, dude, you gotta say, how long do you think that shit takes him? You gotta draw, bro, I'm gonna be sitting there, your fucking shaky ass hands, you gotta draw something that's about yay big. You fuck up one time, you gotta restart because you could just, like, actually mush the camel.
I had to serrate the needles at the bottom, scrape it away, so you get these jagged edges underneath. And then press their feet into the bit that I've serrated. If I ever needed psychiatric help, I think it was probably this one. Because the camels...
If you tasked me with doing this, I feel like I would go insane before I got it done. Like, do you think you guys could eventually do this? No matter, like, you have an unlimited amount of time to achieve this. I feel like I don't even know where I would begin. Trying to actually form a camel in the tip, let alone that many... In the fucking thread of a needle? Oh, hell no.
In truth, every piece is impossibly difficult because they're susceptible to the slightest of disturbances.
I was making...
That's an eyelash? Oh, hell no, dude. How do you pinpoint that stuff? Like, I understand he has a microscope so he can see it, but, like, he's getting the actual feather texture on a bird using his hands. I want to see him go like this. Y'all got like shaky ass hands. Like this is me trying to hold it dead still. Like you could see it's somewhat moving. His got to be like actually unmovable.
When I make my sculptures, I normally lift them and put them into position. So when Alice was made, I lifted Alice like that to sit in the chair behind the table. And my mobile phone went off and I went, "Who's that?" And as I breathed in, I inhaled Alice. Gone.
Bro spends a month, or bro spends like 10 hours on working on this thing, picks it up. Oh, the phone's ringing. You just fucking breathe in your art piece. Oh my God.
But it was a blessing in disguise because I made another Alice, which was better than the first one.
These tiny marvels require a steady hand, but also a steady mind, prepared to weather the microcosmic element.
Dude, more than a steady hand, you gotta prevent yourself from going fucking insane. Like, I would get visibly mad. Like, just because you're so high stress the entire time.
I can feel my heart pumping away. I can feel myself being really steady. I can feel it. And once I get closer to the microscope, hold my fingers together, I can feel the pulse in my finger, and I can feel when it stops. And then I work between the pulse beat. That's what I do. When I'm working, I am in a state of, I have to do this right. And it tires me out, because I may do 16 hours, 17 hours, or even longer sometimes. It's
straight? 16 hours straight, staring into a microscope. Oh my, dude, after 5 minutes, I'd need to get up. After 5 minutes, I'd say, okay, I'm gonna start stressing the fuck out.
The first step, I have to cut out a rough shape of what I'm about to create.
Yeah, like what is he doing? What is he even holding? He has fucking little needles and he's just fucking with them.
Once I've cut out that rough shape, I'll go back and I have a look at it. But I'm going to turn that rough shape into what I want it to look like. And that is a bit where little problems can occur.
It's like stone sculpting, but on such a micro level.
I would say 20% I get rid of, 80% makes its completion. Sometimes I'll make something up in my head and then it doesn't quite turn out right. 2 weeks into it, I'll pick it up and say, I don't like that, and I'll throw it away.
To carefully make something so incredibly small, Willard needs his own specialized tools.
This one here is a hypodermic needle, very fine needle, one of the finest you can get. And what I've done, I've cut the needle off, shorten it.
Do you think he makes a lot of money, though? Like they're cool art pieces, but say somebody buys it. How the fuck do you look at it? Oh, yeah, I just spent $10,000 on this fucking little ass fucking thing. You need a microscope to fucking see it?
I'd put a piece of material into the hole of the needle, then manipulate it around and slice and separate the material that I'm carving, like peeling a carrot almost. This second one here, it's got a little blade. It's like an engraving tool, very hard steel. The third one, it's like a hook, and it's twirled at the end. And that hook enables me to manipulate and move and twist things around. When you look at it underneath the microscope, they look a bit crude looking, but they do.
You would have to pay me $10 million a year to do one of these fucking pieces. To do it, it would take me that long. 16-hour days. Bro, sitting there fucking just fidgeting with a little ass pebble-sized, less than a pebble-sized little stone blob that he's going to make into some fucking thing.
And this one, this is like a little drill. So I drill little holes. So if I'm drilling a hole, I just press onto the material and I just keep turning it backwards and rotating backwards and forwards, but very, very gently till I make a little hole if I have to. This one is like a claw, and what it does, it grabs things. I can hold things with it, and it can pick things up. It's got this little...
You can hold things with it, but also if you press too hard, like not too hard like that, like a little... You press too hard, the whole thing snaps in half. And then you got to reset. Imagine, chat. What would you do? You work on this. You work on a Alice in Wonderland sculpture like he did for 10 hours. 11 hours in. You're almost done. It breaks. Just because you did a little, like a little twitch. Like that. A little twitch. And it snaps. You can't glue it back together. What are you going to have, like a little micro cell of glue? No.
You can't buy these tools. Impossible. You have to make them yourself.
With these small implements, the scope of work Willard can do is truly staggering.
This one here is the smallest sculpture any human being has ever made by hand. This is a little baby inside a hair. So when I...
How the fuck? How the fuck? Yeah, he'll be able to see the hair. How is he moving that little? Like, dude, that's a movement of your hand. Like, my hand still. It ain't even still. He has to have his hand dead still and move it like a fraction of a millimeter. Fraction.
When I shaved it, I went like this, and in between my fingerprint was the finest piece of hair. And then what I did, I drilled a hole into the hair, and then the baby was made from a floating fiber. So when the sunlight comes through the window, you see those little fibers floating.
He grabbed one! He grabbed those little dead-ass hair particles and fucking skin fragments. Bro said, yep, that's the one, and put it down. No.
I had to make a tool so sharp to cut it, so I smashed up a diamond into little bits, and it's one of them that I used to slice the shape of the baby. This one took me 3 months to get it right, because it kept going wrong all the time. I call this one the beginning.
Willard's beginnings were not easy. His talents developing while facing challenges in the classroom before autism was diagnosed in schools.
Back in the 60s and 70s, the educational system would neglect kids with learning differences. So having autism, which wasn't diagnosed back then.
Oh, that probably aids him in doing this, though. Because, he probably is more so geared towards doing these long fucking task-based things. He'll have the patience for it.
I never got bitter, I got better. When I was 15, I had a microscope. This guy got it me from school, and I used to break.
Why is that some people with autism have, like, extreme patience? Not even just for things like this, but also with, like, some military positions are, like, held by people, like, almost 99.9% of the time that have like autism and they just stare at like, and they do one singular task and they're just so patient with it. Why is that?
As I got older, I started to evolve. 55 years of doing this, I'm now 65. So my whole life, my whole body has been trained. That's the dedication that I have.
Willard's dedication makes him always strive for perfection in his work.
The emotional process is when it goes wrong, I'm pissed. And then I sit down and it's not what you do when you get knocked down, it's what you do.
Do you see how wide his pupils are?
It's not what you do
Holy shit!
When you get knocked down, it's what you do when you get back up. So if I get knocked down with something, I get back up.
How do you feel when you complete a piece?
It's like climbing a mountain, Mount Everest. You get to the summit and it's like...
And then he does another one. All right, I get doing one. You finished that Alice in Wonderland piece. All right, I'm done for this shit forever. He says, oh yeah, now tomorrow I'll start working on the camel one. No.
See, my pleasure is looking at other people, seeing their reaction. To know that inside the eye of a needle has opened up the biggest world to people.
Oh, that's how they have the museum. He has like a little bubble with telescopes into his work.
Among these people entranced by Willard's work was Queen Elizabeth II.
Most proudest moment of my life. I had a letter from Buckingham Palace saying she'd accept my tiny microscopic crown. The Queen came out and it was in a beautiful microscope specially made for her. I took it out and showed it to her. She said, this is fantastic. It's so special. I've never had something so small that's so special. Thank you very much. Shook my hand and I walked away.
She ain't pay him? Bruh, I would have paid him. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. I would have said, thanks for the crown. Here's $1 million. I'm the Queen of England. I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
If you see anything and you can help the person, if you see a little bee on the floor and he's walking, pick him up, put him somewhere safe. There's kids out there with autism.
It would make you appreciate smaller things. I really like that video. I will like that video. That was a dub. That was definitely a dub. All right. We are done for reacts today. ! Discord. Join the Discord and send videos for me to react to.